Hey guys, so today I am going to talk about some phobias that I have, and they're really stupid, but that's okay, whatever. I'm gonna go over them. I'm also gonna take out these frizzy pigtails because this is day like 2 or 3 of them, and I'm gonna see if maybe I can take them out up to here and maybe keep this top part. I don't know. I have bobby pins in here because I had some, I'm trying to grow my bangs out and they were sticking out of the braid no matter how many times I rebraided it, so we'll just see how that goes. So I'm gonna do that while I talk and tell you the story, see? So the first one that I have, I actually share this with my old dance teacher, a friend of mine. We both have this weird phobia of statues. Now, it's not, for me, like, I'm not sure if she feels the same way about this, but for me, it's not mannequins or anything like that. Like, mannequins in stores don't bother me. It's nothing like that. It's like statues that are bigger than you. And the only thing that I can think of, even though this started when I was really young, is that I've been pretty tall my whole life. Like, I'm 5'7", which now as an adult isn't that tall, but like growing up I've been this height since I was like 11 or 12 or something. And so I always hated being tall. However, I guess I'm not used to a lot of stuff being bigger than me, because growing up I was like the tall kid. I was taller than everybody, whatever. That's the only thing I can think of, like, logically that would make sense, but that probably has nothing to do with it. I don't know why, but I hate statues. I hate going near them. I used to work downtown Nashville like a little over a year ago, and I would pass all these huge statues and have to like walk right under them, and it freaked me out so much. I hated it. I don't know what it is. I do remember, I think the first time I realized that I was afraid of statues was when here in Nashville we have a Parthenon replica, because Nashville is known as the Athens of the South, like Athens, Greece, obviously, where the Parthenon, the real Parthenon is, and it's to scale, like it's exactly the same as the original was. And back in the early 90s, I guess it was, I feel like that was when the statue of Athena was unveiled in it. And there was this big event, and my dad he used to work for the mayor back when Bredesen was mayor, and then he worked for the parks department. So we went to a lot of events like that when I was little. So we went to it to see the unveiling of this statue inside the building, and it's got these huge heavy doors on either side of the building, and you open one set of them and you can see her from outside. And I remember seeing it, and it was all white, like ivory, because it didn't get painted until much later. I remember seeing it when I was little, and I remember being excited to see it, and then as soon as I saw it, it was so big, I was like, oh my god, like I had this instant fear. And I think this kind of goes along with my OCD that I've talked about in another video, and part of my OCD was always worrying that something bad was going to happen to my parents. Okay, sorry, my phone rang in the middle of me talking about that. I can't remember exactly where it was. I was talking about the Athena statue. Anyways, I had this really bad fear that it was going to like fall on us. It was so big, and it just scared the hell out of me when I saw it, and I was like, I'm not okay with this. So ever since then, by the way, I got this one looking pretty good. Ever since then, I've been like terrified of statues, really big ones, anything that's bigger than me. Even if it's like, I have been around mannequins that are dressed that are like over 6 feet tall that make me uncomfortable if I'm like surrounded by them. But yeah, that's just this weird phobia that I have. Now let's get to the other one, the good one, the one that haunts me to this day. My husband and I are huge horror movie fans. One of the things we originally bonded on was horror movies and our love of them. And growing up, my birthday is November 1st. I can't say it, November 1st. So it's the day after Halloween. And growing up, I was obsessed with horror movies at a very early age. My dad liked horror movies and I loved them. I liked Halloween and being scared and all that stuff. And when I was about 3, maybe 4 years old, I remember, I don't know if they rented it or if it was like a censored version on TV or something, or maybe it was like we got some special channel like HBO or something. We didn't really have cable back then, so I think they must have rented it. Anyways, my dad and my older brother were watching Child's Play 3, which is the Chucky movies. And I remember like sneaking in the living room, peeking around the corner trying to watch it, and they kept telling me to like go in my room. It was like late at night, it was past my bedtime, and I would not go to sleep. I kept begging to watch it. So finally near the end of the movie they said, okay, you can come out. And it was like the ending scene in the carnival, if you've ever seen that movie. And so I watched the rest of it, and I think I fell asleep to it. And I don't remember being like traumatized by that or anything, but I remember being like, oh, this is scary, like being scared by it. But I wanted to see it again. I wanted to see all of them. So every year on Halloween, I don't remember the first time I even saw the movies all the way through, but I suspect this is when it happened, was one Halloween. But every year after we trick-or-treated, this was in elementary school, we'd come home, and we used to have school off on November 1st for All Saints Day, but I mean, I think it was really just because everyone knew you'd be out trick-or-treating. So I always had my birthday off, and I would stay up until midnight, until my birthday. And there was always this marathon on that Elvira hosted, and she would like introduce horror movies and stuff. And so I would stay up all night by myself in my bedroom watching these horror movies until midnight, and then I'd go to sleep. And it, you know, I got scared like you do when you watch horror movies, but again, I wasn't traumatized by them or anything. I loved them. Still around that age, I think it was, I started having nightmares about Chucky. They weren't necessarily about Chucky, but he was in them, and he would play like, sometimes, most of the time, he would play a pretty large part in the dream. And, I'm grabbing the wrong piece of hair. So, like, in my dream, and this is, the reason I bring this up is because this is one of the only recurring nightmares I've ever had in my life. I've had one other one just from some trauma in my past, but like that has like come and gone. But Chucky has like stayed around forever. I have had recurring nightmares about Chucky my entire life. I still have them to this day. And my husband hates it because he likes to fall asleep to horror movies. Like, he likes to fall asleep to peaceful movies, and Child's Play is not a very loud movie. Yeah, there's definitely parts where like people are getting killed and whatever, but really like that's the kind of movie we like watch and we could take a nap to. But he can't watch it because I am too afraid that I'm gonna have a Chucky dream that night whenever he decides to watch it. And there have been times where he's had it playing and I wake up in the middle of the night to go pee, and I get up and Chucky's there on the TV, and I'm like, ugh, so like freaked out by it. So, sorry, I have to get this there. So, I always have this dream that, like, it's not the same dream. It's always something different going on in the dream. But Chucky somehow shows up, and he's always very witty like he is in the movies. We kind of always have this banter and stuff in the dream, and I'm kind of like just telling him to shut up and whatever, and I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of him or how to kill him. In the dreams, I'm always trying to figure out a way to kill him, and he always, like, I'll kill him, but then he comes back, and he, like, hides or, like, tricks somebody or something, and I'm having to, like, other people show up, and he is pretending to be dead, like, or pretending to be a doll. And I'm like, no, don't trust that doll. That's Chucky. He's real, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, of course, nobody believes me. And usually he'll get up and move or something right in front of them. But it's a dream. So everybody's like, oh, he's fine. Or, like, they think he's cool. They don't think he's going to do anything or something. I always have a very specific way that I have to kill him in my dream. Like, there's one dream where I had to kill him with a shovel. Like, I had to, like, hit him over the head with a shovel or something. That was the only way to take him out. And I'd be like, here, take this shovel. This is, you know, you have to protect yourself. And everyone would be like ignoring me. Like, nah, I'm fine. Nothing's gonna happen. You're being stupid. So it's really frustrating and scary. And I'm really pissed. And me and Chucky usually end up like yelling. Like, I'm yelling at him and he's like laughing at me. And it's like this whole thing. And then I wake up like in a cold sweat. Like, just covered in sweat. It's awful. Like, I get so stressed about it in my dreams. The only funny thing is that usually in every dream that he's in, I do get one good, like, punt, and I, like, kick him across the fucking room, which is pretty funny. But then, like, somebody walks in, and then he plays like he's just a doll again. Now, I think something that sort of probably exacerbated this phobia was something that happened when I was younger, which is pretty funny. I was staying at my friend Brittany's house one night, and she had a Chucky doll in her house, and I remember her telling me about it and saying, you want to come see this Chucky doll that I have? And she had said that day that they had been cleaning out the basement and she had found it, and I don't remember if she said she did this or her brother did, or if they did it that day or whatever, but apparently they had, like, poked his eyes out and, like, put paint all over his face or something like that. Like, they, like, messed with it. And I was like, oh, great, he's pissed. Like, we're gonna go mess with a pissed off Chucky doll. But I was like, sure, let's go see it. We went down in the basement where it was supposed to be, and she had this closet, and they had a curtain hanging over the closet, and she moved it, and it was gone. Like, she couldn't find it. I don't know if she was fucking with me. Like, we were only, like, 8 or 9, and she didn't, like, do anything else the rest of the night about the doll, so I don't know if she was just messing with me or whatever, or if her brother took it, because later her brother ended up having it. So, later that night, her mom left. Her mom was the only one there with, like, it was like a couple girls, I think, and her mom and her older brother. And her older brother's friend came over to stay. And they were, like, probably teenagers. I don't remember how old they were, but they were much older. And her mom left to go get us dinner or something and told the brother to watch us. So we decided to play hide and seek. And Brittany and I were hiding. Somehow we ended up in her bedroom. And I think the brother and his friend were, like, running around outside banging on windows and stuff and started, like, really scaring us. So we went in her room and shut and locked her door. And I remember we crouched down on the floor looking under the crack of the door, and she had, like, hardwood floors so you could see really well under there. And they took the Chucky doll and brought a knife, like a butcher knife, and made his little feet walk in front of the door and dragged the knife behind the feet like he was walking around looking for us with a knife, and we screamed bloody murder. And the mom came home and he got in trouble and, you know, all that stuff, but it freaked us out so much. So I think maybe that had something to do with it too, because for a moment there I was like, I knew it, he's alive. So that's always freaked me out. Every time I go in a Spencer's store, I have to, like, the first thing I do is find where the Chucky doll is, because there's always one hanging over one of the aisles. And the worst thing for me, and it's like the worst looking Chucky doll, it's really cheap, it's not like a great looking Chucky, but it's still a Chucky, and I have to find where he is, because there have been times growing up where I'm in this aisle looking at something and then I look up and he's right there and I can't deal with it. So I always have to find Chucky so I can avoid him, or at least be very aware when he's above me and I'm, like, ready for it. The other shitty part about my phobia is that my husband collects, we both like movie memorabilia, and he collects a lot of horror movie memorabilia, like masks and stuff. And he has a Chucky doll and a Tiffany doll from Bride of Chucky. They're both from Bride of Chucky, so it's the stitched up version of him, but it's like a legit, correct size and everything Chucky doll. And he can't have it, like, in the house. I like, refuse. And I tell him, we just moved into a house, and he mentioned bringing it in at one point. And I said, you're going to have to put it in, like, a fucking Annabelle case and, like, lock it up, because I cannot deal with that thing just being loose in the house. I think it's over at his mother's right now with a bunch of the Halloween decorations from the past year, because he always tries to, like, sneak it into our Halloween parties, and I don't ever want to be around it. But he has one, and I cannot let him, like, bring it in the house. It scares me so much. I actually considered doing this video with the Chucky doll, like, in the room, like, behind me or something like that, because I thought it would be funny, like, to film my reaction to it. And literally, as soon as I, like, would start to text my husband and be like, hey, I think I should do this, I would get nauseous and, like, get the shakes. Like, I cannot even deal with thinking about it. So I was like, no, that's not happening. It's gonna be a disaster. And, like, I have this fear about talking about it in front of him, as if Chucky's real and he's gonna hear me and be like, kill me. I don't know, like, I know he's not real. I know it's a fucking doll, but he still scares the shit out of me. My husband's pulled a few pranks on me over the years with that fucking doll. One that was harmless, because I was in my car, was I was coming home one day and we had this wraparound driveway in the place we used to live, and I was wrapping around the back, and I pull around and when I pull around the back of the house, Chucky's standing right there in the driveway, and he filmed it. And I wish I had the clip. If I do, I'll put it in, but I don't think I have it. But you see my car like skirt, like hit the brakes and like slide a little bit in the gravel and then start backing up. And I'm in my car, and I don't think you can hear me, but I'm yelling, "Oh, fuck no." Like, I was so mad, and I knew it was Scott. And he came out laughing and put the doll away, whatever. The other time, which was one of the worst, was I had to run downstairs. This was at our house. It was like haunted. I had to run downstairs outside our outdoor set of stairs and go get something in the old haunted house and then come back up. So I was already freaked out because I had to run in the old haunted house in the middle of the night to get something. And then as I'm coming back up the stairs, I have this habit of looking down because I'm clumsy. So I like look at the stairs when I'm walking up them, and I'm like running up the stairs, and then I look up and I'm halfway up the steps, and then porch light is on. All I see is a silhouette of this fucking Chucky doll standing at the top step. I am shocked I didn't fall down the staircase. I screamed. I like dropped down and screamed and like ran down the steps. I was so freaked out. And I think I started to cry, and then he was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't mess with you anymore about that. And then like 2 years ago, I told him he could have the dolls at our Halloween party as long as I knew exactly where they were and whatever. And he was asking me about it, and he was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get why you're so afraid of it. It's fake. And I'm like, I know that logically, but you can't reason with like my phobia of it. So he like gets it out and like chases me around the damn driveway with it, and I about slapped him. And I just started crying. I was so mad at him. I'm like this isn't fucking funny. And I think he finally realized like my fear. He just didn't understand like the logic behind it, because there's not a logic behind it. It's just a phobia. So yeah, that is my experience, my phobias, whatever you want to call it. My ridiculous phobias is statues and Chucky dolls. And now I feel like Chucky's in my backseat. He's what I check my car for every night when I get in my car, or like whenever it's dark out. I'm like, fucking Chucky's back there. I just know it. He's like back here down hiding, like behind my seat. I gotta look right now just for peace of mind. It freaks me out. Like, it's like, some people are like, when you go to the bathroom and you're like worried that something's behind the shower curtain and you're thinking it's a burglar. No, it's Chucky. Like, that's, for me, it's always Chucky. It's the only thing that freaks me out. And again, I love the Child's Play movies. I've seen all of them. I want to ignore Seed of Chucky. Just wipe that one out. I feel like that one's just awful. Bride of Chucky, I actually enjoyed because I was young and it was funny. Like, it had more humor to it. And I was like, I don't know, 12 when that came out or something. And then Curse of Chucky and what was the other one? The last two have been pretty decent, actually. They kind of went back to like the horror of it and less humor, and I liked that. And I really liked the cameos with Alex P. Vincent. I won't say what character that is if you are not a huge fan but you don't want it spoiled, but I was really pumped to see Alex back in the films, and I thought it was really cool. And there was definitely some cheesy moments in both of them, but the most recent one I liked more, and I thought it was freaky, but I thought like a lot of the stuff that happened was pretty cool. So I really enjoy the movies. I do, and I like watching them. And the other day I told Scotty, I said, like, I kind of want to watch one right now, and it was nighttime, and he's like, let's do it. And I'm like, I can't, because I will have a fucking Chucky nightmare. Like, I can't do it. And even telling the story today, I would put money on it that I'm gonna have a fucking Chucky dream tonight, and I'm gonna be pissed. So yeah, that's my story about Chucky and statues and my phobias. So yeah, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more, and comment below and let me know if you've got any weird ass phobias like me, because I think they're interesting. And I'll see you guys next week.